Hey, look out. It's Faith Talk Live. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
Well, I can see that the good pastor is relaxing there, and I'm so glad that we had a chance to catch him this morning. Pastor Scott Mawdesley from 12 Stone. Pastor, how are you?
I'm doing well.
You are.
Mawdesley. Yes, yeah, we were going to say Mawdesley, but you said no, it's a good old English name, Mawdesley.
That's right.
I'm sure you've heard every form of your last name.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it's like mine, Probst. I've heard so many, it's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, my favorite one is Alexa says Mawdesley.
Thank you, Alexa.
I don't know. That's pretty cool. Don't you think that's a cool way to say your last name?
I like that. We're gonna make it like French, maybe, or something. I don't know.
That is awesome. Well, we are really, really blessed to be able to connect with you. A sales weasel friend of ours passed your name along.
Now, be nice.
Did I say that out loud?
Yeah.
I guess I did. No, he's a great guy. Gary said, hey, you need to connect with Scott to see what's going on in his world. Now, you're there in Beaufort. Are you a part of the 12 Stone Beaufort, or are you on all of the or in all of them?
So I've been at 12 Stone 9 years, was a campus pastor at our Duluth campus, but now I sit in the outreach role, which basically works with all 8 of our campuses to help with our community engagement.
Wow. You know, you guys, not just because you're here on the screen, but 12 Stone has really gone beyond the norm when it comes to reaching out to folks. It's amazing. And let me say that whoever's idea was this 12 Stone sticker about 10, 15, 14 years ago, they're everywhere. I can't go anywhere without seeing 12 Stone somewhere. Right, Dan?
Yep. Oh, yeah. I see them all the time. And I'm in Cobb County. So, I mean, you still see them everywhere.
Yeah. Every now and then there's a plane overhead and it's pulling one of those things that says, ask for Scott at 12 Stone.
Yeah, my personal cell phone. Yeah.
Which we'll give out in just a minute. So if you're watching, you need counseling or anything. Yeah. Anyway, I jest a bit, but the seriousness of the whole of what I was about to say was that you guys really, really have touched not just one community, but I hear all the time how 12 Stone has gone beyond and helped folks of every economic level. How did this all begin? I mean, did you guys read the Bible and say, let's take this serious? What?
Yeah. Jesus actually told us to do this stuff, didn't he?
Really?
Yeah, it's been great. I get to stand on the shoulders of such great leadership. And from the very beginning, our senior pastor planted 12 Stone almost 35 years ago with a heart for the community and a desire to, in a tangible way, help meet the needs. So we have been committed for years to mobilizing volunteers into the community. 10% of all of the giving that comes into 12 Stone goes back out into the local or global community. And so we've had an opportunity to literally give almost $1 million a year into the community and to help folks. And it's really been a neat thing to be a part of. And of course, with all the COVID-19 and everything, it's certainly changed and provided more opportunity, but we've had to engage that in different and unique ways.
Scott, tell us a little bit about you, how you got into ministry and what gave you that heart for outreach specifically.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've been now 25 years local church ministry. I've worked in some great places. I worked for Rick Warren at Saddleback. I got to work for Andy Stanley at North Point for several years. And now I've been at 12 Stone for over 9 years. And just, I felt a calling as a senior in high school to kingdom work. And that's played itself out in a lot of different ways. I'm kind of an entrepreneur, a starter by nature. And so I got to play a lot of different roles. And about 2.5 years ago, when I got a meeting request to talk about this outreach role, it really it not only did it intrigue me, but also it allowed me to tap into a bit of my story. So I don't need to go into my whole story, but I grew up in a family that struggled financially, went through a lot of financial issues. My family went bankrupt at one time. Me and my 4 brothers and my parents actually lived in a tent for about 3 weeks in transition, and so we went through homelessness and there were times when we didn't know where our next meal was coming from as a family, and our little local church would put groceries on the steps of our home in Michigan. And so really it allowed me to play a role now in a world where my family was blessed when I was a kid. And frankly, I don't know how we would have made it without our church and without that support from the community. And now I get to play a similar role, working with 30 to 40 nonprofits across the community and helping folks in our community that are in a season of life where they are in the same place, right? They don't have enough. They're struggling. There's challenges. And sometimes they just need that little bit of hope that our partners can provide and that we can provide as a church for them to hopefully make it through this and get beyond it. So that's just a little bit of my story.
Yeah.
Pastor Scott Mawdesley from 12 Stone, we're talking about his role there at 12 Stone and what 12 Stone has been doing in the community for a long, long time. I didn't realize it was 30-something years that it all began with Kevin. Seems like honestly, it's not a joke. It seems like only yesterday. And then it just exploded everywhere. You said a few challenges. Yeah, right. We all have had challenges during COVID. How have you guys adjusted? Are you meeting at all? I haven't been paying attention really. I apologize. Are you meeting public together? Or is it just still virtual? What?
Yeah. So about a month ago, we launched into 2 services at our central campus in Lawrenceville. And people are RSVPing. We're keeping the room small and people are social distancing, wearing masks. But we've made a decision that the other 7 campuses of 12 Stone will not reopen until at least November, almost the end of the year. And so that's kind of where we're at. 1 campus. And of course, we got a lot of people engaging online.
Now, obviously, with COVID and you being the director of outreach, there's a lot of outreach to be done during COVID. It's affected a lot of people financially and in so many other ways. You have a story of how you guys have been able to help somebody or a family?
Yeah. So, we did a couple of things. One is we set aside some resources to help the families of 12 Stone as they experienced job loss and just went through some of these struggles of utilities and all that. So we've been able to help hundreds of people in that way internally. Externally, one of the roles that I've been playing in the last 4.5 months now in our community is as the lead of something called Gwinnett Cares. And Gwinnett Cares was started March 13th, about 8 of us in the community. I happen to sit on a couple of boards. I'm on the board of the Community Foundation for Northeast Georgia. About 8 of the community leaders got together at one of our campuses at 12 Stone. We could still be in the room together. And we said, hey, if COVID-19 hits, what are we going to do to help our community? And so we launched this idea called Gwinnett Cares. And now Gwinnett Cares is over 150 organizations, 7 teams working together, everything nonprofits, for-profits, school board, school system, our county, working together as collaborative work to share resources, to help raise funds. And so I've gotten to play 2 roles. One is the director of outreach at 12 Stone, helping to connect dots there, but also out in the community, being able to connect a lot of dots with a lot of organizations to try to do some level of coordinated effort to help with all the craziness of COVID. So there's 100 different stories. I mean, I'll give you one example since you asked for a specific story. When spring break came along and we discovered as a community that our school board or school system was not going to be able to serve meals like they were doing the first few weeks before spring break, they were delivering 35,000 meals across 7,000 bus stops in Gwinnett County. And they came and said, hey, we're just not going to be able to serve meals. We rallied the community. We came alongside of our 6 co-ops in the community, and we raised about $200,000 from some foundations, from churches like 12 Stone, from some community partners. And we went after trying to help provide the food and resources through our co-ops to the community. And it was crazy nuts. I mean, some of our co-ops had 10 times the amount of families than they normally deal with.
Wow.
We were able to work together, get the right resources to the right places, and see our co-ops just thrive and see a lot of families get the help they needed that week. So that was just one great story of what happened.
Awesome.
Pastor Scott on Facebook Live and YouTube and on the radio, Pastor Scott Mawdesley from 12 Stone. Scott, how does that make you feel? You shared candidly about just the short time that you guys had to live in a tent with your challenges. How does that make you feel now, not only to be able to just give back basically, but also to see just the church community just reach out? And, it's not just outreach you guys are doing. You also believe in discipleship. So you're snagging folks and leading them and discipling them, and they're learning to do the same as what you've learned. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, it's very gratifying and fulfilling. sometimes you get in the midst of all this, and there's so much going on that it's easy to not stop and think about where you've come from, and then realize that, my journey as a kid and what I got to experience and the hope I got to experience as an 8, 9, 10-year-old, now I get to be a part of, with not only a great church like 12 Stone, but 150 plus organizations across the community doing the same thing for other families that are in a difficult place. It is very fulfilling. And, it's just a reminder that, that we have a responsibility to do for others the things that have been done for us, and to care for others in the same way that we've been cared for. So, yeah, it's gratifying.
Now, obviously, there's still a lot of work to be done. How can folks help out? Where can they find information on how they can help get involved with what you're doing?
Absolutely. So GwinnettCares.org is where I would refer people to go. That's the collective organization that we've been working with. And on there are places to volunteer from the medical side of things, from the county side of things, in the community. There's needs that are listed there for our co-ops. Our co-ops still need food and resources as much as they ever have. And so, I would say go to GwinnettCares.org. If you scroll to the bottom of the page, there's probably about 20 different links of opportunities for people to get engaged and get the help that they need. And GwinnettCares.org represents other great churches like Perimeter Church and Gwinnett Church who are engaged with us, as well as a lot of community partners.
Pastor Scott from 12 Stone, we got to go to a break in a second, Scott. I'm going to steal Dan's thunder because he usually asks this question. Through this entire ordeal, and we're not quite out of it yet, yeah. What have you taken away from God in this point? What are you hanging on to?
Yeah, I would say that we've all had our ups and downs, right? We had those moments where it's like, okay, I think we're having some breakthroughs here. And then you had those moments where it's like, oh goodness, are we ever going to break through on this stuff? And so, I think that to me personally, the faithfulness of God, even in the midst of trials and tribulations, right? And I'll just personally, I've had those moments where I've just thought, my goodness, are we ever going to get through this? Mm-hmm. And God has just dropped those little things, right? Whether it's a little email of encouragement or a little note in the mail that's come. And it's like, God oftentimes just provides you that just-in-time moment of encouragement. And I certainly have experienced that personally. And one of the things I think how Gary reached out was I started sharing on social media across my LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram pages a couple weeks ago, just what I'm calling Good News from Gwinnett. It's just little videos each day of a story. And I started realizing there's so much bad news out there. There's so much news we're trying to sort through, like, oh my goodness, the world's falling apart and we're all struggling in a challenge. I started to realize I'm seeing so much good news from the community. I wanted to start sharing just some of the stories of what's happening. And so I think those little moments of good news are important to share, moments like this, to share the stories of what's happening in the community, because it's real easy to lose sight of some of those things with all of the bombardment of the challenges that we're experiencing.
Yeah. Now, where did you say again, folks can see the Good News Gwinnett that you've created?
Yeah, just on my social media feeds, Instagram, LinkedIn, just my personal feeds. I've been doing about 2.5 weeks of those. I'll post another one later today, just telling the stories of what's happening in the community. There's so many good things.
Wow. Love it. Scott, we'd love to be able to catch up with you, every couple of months and see what's going on. We appreciate your time. Blessings to you and your family. Stay well. And thanks for actually doing what the Bible says. We appreciate it. Hey, we got to take a break. We'll be right back. I'm Rick Probst.
And I'm Dan Ratcliffe.
This is Faith Talk Live.